Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Hi, this is Gracie Howes with Pilma. Let's hit pause for just a second on this episode because I have to tell you about this event that every forward-thinking PI firm should have on their calendar this January. It's the AI for PI Expo in Orlando, Florida, January 15th through 17th. This is the very first conference of its kind dedicated entirely to showing personal injury firms how to harness AI to save time, cut costs, and grow faster. You'll get hands-on demos, practical training, and access to the best AI solutions built for law firms. Reserve your spot now at pilma.org/AI for PI Expo via the link in the show notes.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the honor and pleasure of having Raquel Gomes with Stafi, who is their CEO. Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So, one of the things I wanted to talk about today is, and the reason I want to talk about it is, in our masterminds, we're really trying to get our members to reduce their labor costs. And the reason we want to do that is we want to be able to spend more money on marketing to compete with the John Morgans and the hedge fund and the institutional investors and the lead companies, because it's just getting more and more competitive. And so, unfortunately, it means you got to spend more money and you don't want to cut into your net profits. So what's the way to do that is automate and use offshore staff a lot cheaper. And this is where Raquel comes in. So Raquel, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into starting this business, Stafi, and then we'll get more into details.
Awesome. So I come from large corporate America, the telecommunications industry. I was running large sales teams before I opened my own business. And I was overworking. I was traveling every week, home only on weekends. And then I had a baby. And to my surprise, I had a situation with my husband. She was 3 months old, and we both have to go on business trips, and we didn't have who to leave her with. And to my surprise, my boss couldn't care less. And I thought, okay, I'm giving my life for this company and I'm not getting anything in return outside of financial. I had a very good pay, but not as good as a business owner, right? It's never as good. So when I created Stafi was because I really wanted to provide a solution that allows law firm owners to trust and to be able to delegate, because there's no way that you can grow your business without being able to delegate. You need processes, you need systems, and you need people. And I knew that there was a lot of struggle around delegation. So that's why Stafi is much more than providing a top-notch talent. They're college educated, they have years of experience from Latin America, but we have a whole ecosystem around supporting the law firm much beyond that. So we have the Staff University that provides them training, because lawyers don't want to hire people that they have to train. They want people to be ready to go, to be ready to hit the floor running. Right? So that's what we provide. We provide the training, a lot of our certifications. We have over 800 certifications. There's a university. You have access to how they are scoring, and they're trained on tasks that are specific to personal injury. So for example, if you want someone to draft and send letters of representation, there's a training for that. To close retainers, to be able to negotiate bills, there's training for that. Filing insurance claims, there's training for that. Communicate with medical providers, to run discovery, and more, so much more. So they're trained, they get certified, and once they are paired with a law firm, we have coaches who are coaching them behind the scenes. So if you provide us your SOPs, your KPIs, we're gonna be using those to train them. And people go to school, they learn the theory, but then there's real life. So you get to real life, you have questions, you get stuck, And that's where they go to our coaches and not to the law firm owners, so they're not interrupting them. Our coaches have years of experience in personal injury. They're legal coaches. We have psychologists, mental health coaches. They're helping them with their emotional, anything they're going on in their lives from an emotional perspective that is going to affect their productivity. We work that out so it doesn't. So we have this whole holistic approach. We are really a partner, a HR partner to the law firm versus just providing them with good talent. So that's what makes Stafi very different.
Yeah, that's different than most of the companies out there. You're actually, if they've got their KPIs and stuff together, then you can hold them accountable, and they don't. Because I think two things that bother lawyers is that they're so far away they can't really manage them,
Right.
and they're worried about confidentiality, and somebody hacking their machines or whatever. Have you ever had any problems with that, or what do you tell a lawyer when he says, "Well, I'm just worried, if they do something bad, still on my list or whatever"?
So that's a very good point. So we work exclusively with law firms. We have right now over 420 law firm clients. So obviously confidentiality is a very big deal for us. So from the time we're hiring them, we're doing a very thorough vetting and screening process that takes us about 5 weeks. We are calling the universities where they say that they got a degree from. We're calling 5 years of employment to ensure that they will be rehired by those employers. We are running background checks, global and local. We use the same platform as the FBI. That's very important to check for anything related with fraud, money laundering. And once they are hired, we have cybersecurity trainings, confidentiality trainings, and certifications they need to take. On top of that, we're checking their machines to make sure they're free of malware. We install VPN, so the communication is encrypted. We also use MoneyTask, which is a tool to monitor them to see what is that they're doing, so that, if there is something, a red flag or anything that the attorney brings up, we will go and check. The coaches will check. The attorneys also have access to those tools. And the other thing I would say is that it's important to train them in how to avoid mitigate any sorts of risks. But you can have the same type of risk with someone who's sitting in your office, right? They are there and you don't know, we do so much more vetting and screening than most attorneys do when they hire someone in person. And those people are huge liability as well. So it's all about training them and helping them not do anything stupid. Let's put it that way.
Doing a big time due diligence, so I think that's
Yeah.
important. How does it work? I mean, so lawyer comes to you and say, "I need a case manager." So tell me how would that work?
We usually run a strategy session that is highly valuable with the attorney, and it's complimentary, to define what are the tasks that they want that person to take on. Because we see that a lot of things go south from the beginning. You have to put the right person in the right role. And a lot of times lawyers just think they need a case manager. Oh, I just need someone to do a paralegal. And the truth is they need someone to do intake on an attorney sales. So it's very important for us to define all of the tasks that they want that person to take on. And then based on that, we will find the perfect match, not only from a degree perspective and their experience, but we're going to be testing their soft skills. So we are very big. I'm a psychologist, and I know that you need to put the right person that has the right personality and soft skills to do the right role in order for them to stay and to thrive. So things that we are testing for are attention to detail, empathy, communication skills, problem-solving skills, critical thinking, common sense. Those things are so important. So if you need someone to do mostly legal, they have to have high attention to detail. If you need someone, they also have to have very, common sense, critical thinking. If you need someone to do sales, they need to be highly empathetic, to be great at communicating, and they need to have the type of personality that thrives from human interaction. So there's many psychological tests that they're going through. One of them that everybody knows is the DISC assessment. So that's everybody we hire is going through the DISC, and you're going to be able to see what type of personality they have. So that's a big deal.
And so when a lawyer wants, okay, after that, I guess you got to sign some paperwork. Is it a long-term deal or is it month to month? How does it work?
So we first handle that session, and then based on that, we're going to tell them who they need to hire, right? Regardless if they want to work with Stafi or not, that's a very valuable session. And depending on the tasks that they've selected, we're gonna be training the person on how to handle those tasks so they can hit the floor running. That's very important for us and very important for our attorney clients. And then we have a commitment. We sign an agreement that we're finding someone specifically for you. There is a setup fee for that, and then we present you with candidates, and then you choose, and then you go from there. It's pretty much it. It's very flexible.
What happens 3 or 6 months in the deal, and the lawyer says, it's just not a good fit. I don't want this person.
That's a very good question, because we replace our existing clients always are priority to us. They come before new signed contracts. So you would be a priority and you get a replacement without any additional cost. That's how it works. For as long as you're a client, you get a replacement for no additional cost. And that's for the one of the services. The other service that we have that we've been very successful with personal injury is the Stafi Live service. I don't know if you wanted me to talk about this, the 24/7 live intake and receptionist service. So I come from telecommunications backgrounds, my co-founder as well. We both come from sales and telecom. And our clients started coming to us and saying, I don't like my answering service. What do you recommend? So we started doing a due diligence in the market and researching everything that was out there, because initially we thought about white labeling and reselling those services. But what we found is that those answering services, they were doing okay, but they were not doing great. They were not going a step further to try to influence whoever was calling, to try to close the deal, to try to get the retainer signed, to try to position the law firm in a positive way. They're simply either going to take a message, or they're asking all the questions and they say, okay, someone's going to call you later. And there were so many hot deals coming in, hot leads, that they're being lost or disregarded because people don't have the time. When they need an attorney, they need it that exact moment. If you don't resolve for them right then, they're going to go to the next law firm that they find in Google, or someone referred to them, and so on. So what we do with Stafi Live that has been is huge. And we launched Stafi Live. So we've been in business for 10 years. 2 years ago, we launched Stafi Live. From the 420 clients, we have 100 right now, and growing every month, that are using Stafi Live. So what we do is we go a step further. Okay, so we qualify, and we can go all the way to get the retainer signed right there on the spot. Because when you have the person on the line, you have to do anything you can to get whatever you want to get, and you have to be able to influence them. So we coach our agents live. All of our agents are highly empathetic. They're great at communication. They have great soft skills. We train them in sales and intake, and we do live coaching whenever they have a caller. So we're there with them, helping them overcome objections, helping them get that retainer signed. And we don't charge extra for that. A lot of companies out there, they'll charge you a flat fee for getting the retainer signed on top of the minute rate. We have a very affordable, compared to our competitors, is $1.49 per minute. And we don't charge anything extra for getting those retainers signed. So our clients are very happy. We're growing a lot, that service.
So where do most of you said Latin America, so where do most of your people come from? I mean, what countries?
It will depend, because since we have clients all over the US and they're in different time zones, we always position people that have only like 1 hour time zone difference. So depending if you are in California, I wouldn't put someone from Argentina, it would be someone from Central America. But if you are in Florida, for example, it's not a big deal to have someone that is in Uruguay or Argentina. We hire from all over. I would say that we are focused on the talent being top notch. We work with the best talent that there is, and we are very selective in that regard, but we don't. It depends if our client doesn't want, I want very light accent, I don't care about the accent. So it depends on the areas that would, there's countries that are, the English is, you don't have any very light accent or no accent whatsoever. There are other countries that they're heavier. But some attorneys don't care because their clients are Latin or from other countries. So that will influence as well. I think where you're located and the type of accent that you're looking for.
And far as time off, I mean, how does that work? Holidays, time off, sick time, how does that work with
That's a good question. So I believe, okay, so I'm almost sure, it's about 10 days per year that they are entitled. And there is the major US holidays that, you know, Thanksgiving, Memorial Day type of thing. I can't remember how many there are exactly. So that, and then I think they have a few sick days that I'm not so sure. I think it's about 5 sick days, but all of that is outlined in the agreement, in the contract. And obviously if you want to change, you know, some people don't mind if the person wants to take a local holiday and things like that. So all of the things that we talk to the client and we negotiate with the person to ensure that it's all very crystal clear as well.
So I know in another, talking to somebody a couple weeks ago, I did not know this, that certain Latin America countries have a law, I think it might just be Mexico, it might be more, that you have to pay them an extra month's salary in December. Is that true?
So there are some, yeah, Brazil is one of them. I'm from Brazil and Brazil is one of them, yeah. But the beauty of working with a company like us, like we handle all of the legalities of what's happening, you know, in the specific countries, so that you don't have to worry about that. So it's a service that you're hiring in the US and they are our employees, right? You don't have to worry about, you know, employment tax and benefits and any of that. So we're providing that. So that's one of the benefits of working with a third party company as well. So you don't have to be worrying about, okay, I have to do now research, what's the law in the specific country, so that I have to abide to that. It makes things easier.
What are the biggest mistakes you see lawyers make when they start thinking about hiring people offshore?
So I think one of them is not really taking the time to think through what are the things that you want to hire the person to do. You need to have very clear what are the tasks that you want to delegate to the person. That's number one. Number two is just relying on an interview. You need to do a process to vet and screen them. You don't know where that person's coming from. So yeah, you're concerned about, you know, client confidentiality and all of that and cybersecurity. Well, make sure that you have a whole vetting and screening process in place in order to ensure that you're hiring someone who is, you know, a good human and someone who does what they say they do, because a lot of people lie on interviews. From, I don't know, 2,000 people that we're screening and interviewing per month, we're hiring only 1%. There's a lot of people out there that they're lying, you know, they're not who they say they are. So that's another one. Have a good training in place. Onboarding is key. You know, a lot of attorneys, they hire someone offshore, just think the person's going to figure things out on their own, and they don't. You need to have a good onboarding process. You need to have SOPs, the standard operating procedures, and how you do things that person can follow. That's super important. I like to say that a new hire is like a newborn baby, right? You have to be there every step of the way, making sure they have the support they need in order to thrive. You have to have people training them. So it's a lot that goes into play when you're hiring someone, regardless if you're hiring them locally or if you're hiring them offshore. You have to follow the same, I would say, very similar process in order to make that person successful. And I've seen so many great hires that turned into bad hires just because, and they left after 90 days, and that's very costly to the business owner, right? So you have to do things right. And that's why when we have our methodology, when we've created our methodology, we took all of that into account so that we can be there every step of the way. So it's not all on you. A lot is on us, right? You have to work with us. You have to be committed. You have to show up to the onboarding calls, because when we start a new client, we have an onboarding call, and then we have an onboarding process, a methodology that we've created, but we need the clients to be committed and meet us every week so that we can have that person, thriving and getting up to speed. So it's both ways. But if you do everything on your own, it's obviously a lot more work, but it obviously can be done too. So it all depends on what is it you want to do.
So how has AI affected you in any way? I mean, it's affecting a lot of businesses.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So a lot of fear is that, AI is going to replace lawyers, is going to replace talent. And what I'm seeing is that AI won't replace humans, but it will replace humans. Without AI will be replaced. Because AI makes us so much faster, so much more productive. It makes us like superhuman, right? So it's really important a lot of law firms are investing in all of those AI tools, but then there is adoption resistance. The employees are not adopting the tools. So that's why our coaches are there every step of the way to ensure that adoption. So whatever AI tool you're using, our coaches are going to be understanding it, and they're going to be ensuring that the person is using, because repetition is what makes success, right? So you have to use it and use it and use it, and then it becomes automatic for you. So AI is really helping our staff become more productive, faster, but it's not replacing common sense, critical thinking, judgment, empathy. You have to be able to check the output, right? There's so many law firms getting sanctioned because they're relying on AI blindly and they're not checking the work. Also, nothing beats empathy, the warm human touch to try to influence someone and to use your intuition to get that person to do what you want them to do. And that's part of sales talent, right? So that's how I see it. And we're very big, our coaches are very big in understanding the AI tools and helping everyone, making sure that they know how to use it properly at the law firms. And that's very huge, because you need to have management helping enforce and making sure they're understanding. Because you give them a training, but then they need to use and use and use and use in order to become better at it as well. So that's how I see it.
What, as far as the intake part of it, so is that a long-term commitment, or is that kind of like try us out for 2 or 3 months, or how does that work?
So our clients usually sign a year commitment because they also want people to stay with them long term, but we're flexible, so our average client usually stay with us. We have clients law firms that have been with us for 5 years, We're flexible. We do minimum 3 months because we want, especially for people who've never used offshore before, we need them to be committed also to trying it out and to be fully there and committed to doing a good onboarding process and all of that. So we usually do 3-month minimum, but majority of our clients go for 1 year because there's benefits in doing longer terms as well with us.
So what do you see as the future for this offshore stuff? You think it's going to get bigger, or you think AI is going to replace it, or what do you think?
I think that law firms that don't adopt offshore and AI, they're just not going to be sustainable, because it's getting so much more expensive and it keeps going up, the price of hiring locally. Also, if you're not using AI, a human hour is it costs so much more to have the human do something that AI can do that is repetitive, like drafting or something like that. So I believe that if your law firm is not adopting either AI and offshore, you're going to fall behind and you're not going to be able to compete. So it's growing and growing. And that's where I think it's going. It's not replacing my people, but I think it's becoming more and more important to find people that have great critical thinking, that have common sense, that can think on their own feet, and that have a high attention to detail, that can take care of the data, right? Because with AI, with the closed loop, you need that data to be able to keep perfecting how things are done. So you need good talent that have attention to detail, that can save things properly, that can keep the data. So I think it's just a matter of hiring the right talent, good talent, and that's what we are doing. That's what we're looking for out there. And you have to adopt or you're gonna fall behind. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, AI is going to it's not going to replace everybody. It's about to replace some people, but it's going to make you like 10 times or 100 times more productive.
Exactly. It's making us superhumans, I like to say.
So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to get up with you, how's the best way? And by the way, I love the way you're differentiating yourself by the coaches and the training. I mean, you're making it what I see as the big obstacles, because I hear lawyers all the time, the ones that succeed, you're right, they got really good onboarding, they got really good SOPs, and they got good KPIs, so everybody knows what a win is, you know, and know what success is. And the fact that you're helping with that, if a lawyer doesn't have all that, I think that'll push them to do it, and I think it will. I think they'll be more successful. I think it'll work, because I see some of them that don't work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially if they try to go out and do it themselves, because then you got to deal with all the laws, and you got to deal with paying them, and you know.
And training and mentoring and coaching.
I like what you're doing. I mean,
Thank you. There's one thing I wanted to just mention, because a lot of PI attorneys, they know Chris Mullins. She's very good at training, intake, and non-attorney salespeople. And we have an exclusive partnership that we're about to launch, probably coming soon, very soon, before AI for PI, the conference. I'm so excited to be there, to be a speaker as well. We're going to be launching, because we're working on training, creating courses at the Stafi University to train intake and non-attorney salespeople on her methodology. And also our coaches are going to be coaching the sales and intake coaches are going to be following her methodology for attorneys that want to work with personnel that are trained on her methodology. And that's going to be very, very big as well. So I wanted to announce that right now.
Well,
I
know Chris very well. She's always have her at our summits on one of the intake panels. She knows her stuff. Me and her wrote a book together, believe it or not, on intake. And
what is it?
Chris Mullins and I co-wrote a book on intake.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So I've known her I've known her since probably 12, 13 years. So
yeah. She's good. She's a straight shooter.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to, I guess it is contact Stafi.
Okay, yes. www.stafi.cc, and you can find information. You can request to have an initial call with our team. Feel free to send me an email as well. It's Raquel, RAQUEL, at getstafi.com. Getstafi is GETSTAFI.com. Could be a little complicated. You can go into the website. And now I'm just going to give my cell phone. If you want to text me, 305-744-1323. Raquel Gomes. Feel free to text me.
All right. The personal touch. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you at the AI for PI conference. If nobody's not signed up for that, you really owe it to yourself. We're going to have, it's not going to be just a lot of theory. We're actually having workshops for intake. We're having them for marketing people. We're having them for COOs and law firm owners, how you can use it in your firm. We've got some really experts that I actually paid to come here that have used it. We're going to have lawyers who are using it and sharing how they're using it. We're going to have great speakers like Raquel. They're going to share how they see it working with intake. So, sign up, and if you got some staffing needs, I would tell you to call Raquel, because what she's got is a little bit different, I think, and I think it's something that probably will be very successful for you in your law firm. Okay.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, everybody. This was a pleasure.
All right. Until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.